If I were to ask you to name me one Caribbean-themed restaurant chain, which would you say? For the Floridians, perhaps Pollo Tropical. But for the broader market, you'd likely name me Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. Depending who you ask, that hardly counts, but for many, it's the closest they're likely to have come to experiencing a Caribbean-themed restaurant chain in the US. But there is one more, one with a reputation for island vibes, happy hours, and crispy coconut shrimp that has declined while others have thrived. One you may never have heard of. One also originating from Florida, which is on the brink of extinction, which boasts legendary cocktails and the ambiguous energy of live music. This is Bahama Breeze. Last month, it was announced that the Darden Company, who originated and have managed the brand since 1996, would shut all 28 of its Bahama Breeze locations, which are currently spread across 10 states. Of these 28, 14, the majority of which are still located within Florida, will be converted into undisclosed alternative Darden brands. We'll talk more about them later, I promise you definitely know them, but the rest will shut their doors forever. This was a devastating blow for Bahamas-themed restaurants, a section of the market which is already very, very small. So let's talk about it. What is Bahama Breeze? Why is Bahama Breeze? Why is Bahama Breeze closing so important? I'll be answering these and many other questions that you may have in this video. We're also going to be referencing one major source throughout, which is a New York Times article by Megan McCarran, titled "Where Will We Eat When the Middle Class Restaurant is Gone?" It explores the boom in American sit-down chain restaurants, specifically casual dining sit-down restaurants, their decline and what comes next, exploring the role that restaurants play in human connection and relationships, and the role that their absence may play. It's going to be a really fun extrapolation of an otherwise inconsequential feeling closure, and I'm looking forward to it. So my name's Jo. I talk a lot, admittedly not so much recently as I've been otherwise subscribed, but generally about theme parks, history, entertainment, and the role it plays in society, plus lots of other really cool topics around that. So if that's the kind of thing you're interested in, be sure to like this video and also please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of the other fun, exciting things coming our way, and I promise they will. They will, I promise. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I promise. Now that we're here, let's discuss the rise, the fall, the impending closure, and the implications of this impending closure on American society as a whole. This is the death of Bahama Breeze. As we begin, I think it's really important to discuss exactly what a casual dining restaurant is, as it will kind of be the meat of our discussion. Bahama Breeze falls into this category and has since its inception, so I think it'll be useful to contextualise and give a bit more understanding. In his book, The Restaurant from Concept to Operation, John R. Walker notes that casual dining restaurants are characterised by bright, cheerful decor, moderate prices, and friendly service. A niche that gained popularity for its relaxed atmosphere with comfortable, homely interiors, signature food items, and creative bar menus, oft with very exciting and extensive cocktail menus. The casual restaurant model slots nicely in between quick service and fine dining restaurants, offering an experience that feels accessible to the middle class, yet special. Examples of restaurants include Applebee's, Outback Steakhouse, Chili's, TGI Fridays, and, of course, Bahama Breeze. Once you visit one, you'll start to notice on-the-ground similarities between them, including small details like booth seating, clear sectioning, and gentle decor alluding to a theme. Although we have seen some heavier theming too in spots like Margaritaville, Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, Hard Rock Cafe, and the infamous Twin Peaks. There are a few operational benefits of casual restaurants over their higher-end counterparts, like lower wages and shorter training periods. But they also demonstrate some weaknesses, including reliance on a strict and replicable system, which limits creativity and variance of product and service for the staff in-house. So, who eats there? Well, most likely you, at some point. Megan McCarran defines casual dining restaurants as sit-down restaurants where middle-class families can walk in without a reservation, order from another human, and share a meal. And this is a pretty concise and accurate summary. There are many different reasons why a customer may choose to enter into a consumption experience, including to celebrate or to socialise, and many define eating at a restaurant as a leisure activity. While there's not too much research into why people eat at casual dining restaurants specifically, it can be assumed that the price point, the social accessibility of the venue, especially for families, and convenience, with the 1980s seeing a boom of strips of casual restaurants popping up adjacent to highways, were and continue to be driving factors for many. In short, a friendly and reasonably affordable place to eat without too many social barriers to entry makes for an appealing spot for the masses. The food doesn't have to be particularly special or inspiring, as the ability to go out as a family or a friend group where everyone can find something on the menu to eat is enough. Well, it has been enough. But there's been a change in consumer tastes and expectations that's been creeping in for a while, which means that for the first time in decades, just enough isn't necessarily enough anymore. But before we get into that, let's close in on the topic at hand. Bahama Breeze, our Florida-based casual dining restaurant which is owned by the Darden Restaurants Group. If you're not familiar with Darden restaurants, they are a self-described premier full-service dining company, which operates over 1,800 locations in and around North America. You'll know their restaurants like Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse, Yard House, Cheddar Scratch Kitchen, Chewy's, Eddie V's, and the focus of this video, Bahama Breeze, which has just been given 2 months' notice for its unfortunate and widespread closure. With over 440 million guests annually, Darden aims to deliver outstanding food, drinks, and service in an inviting atmosphere, and largely they've been achieving this. Across the board, guest satisfaction's on the rise, and yeah, Bahama Breeze was already on the chopping board before the year even started. Okay, I've made many an allusion to the coconut shrimp and cocktail hour already, but what is Bahama Breeze? Well, by its own definition, Bahama Breeze is a place to gather with friends and share a tasty plate or two or 5. A place where you can enjoy Caribbean-inspired food, handcrafted tropical drinks, and a vibrant island atmosphere that lets you feel a million miles from home any day of the week. Bahama Breeze offers all your favourites: burgers, salads, seafoods, chicken, all with an island flair. And they openly target an audience who is curious about Caribbean-inspired recipes, but not sure if they're ready to explore, offering a low-stakes transitional dining experience that sits somewhere between authentic and American. So in the name of science and due research, I took it upon myself to visit the elusive Caribbean-inspired outlet. Growing up and visiting the US, we somehow managed to totally evade the majority of the chain restaurants to the point where I don't think I'd even stepped foot in an Olive Garden up until very recently. But upon hearing its closure and in the middle of a themed dining spiral, stay tuned to hear more about that another day, we sprinted over to the nearest Bahama Breeze. And honestly, it was a pretty great experience. There was an unreasonably large water feature and those kind of, the leaf fans that you only ever see in Florida. They might exist elsewhere. I've never seen them elsewhere. The promised fire pit and a lovely kind of wooden outdoor area where they played the live music. They promised and they played the live music. The service was fantastic. The food was great, even if we did turn up at 11 a.m. requesting a big plate of plantain. And they had some pretty good deals too. It was very easy to see that there is a serious and well-practiced investment company behind them, and that this isn't the kind of failing restaurant that you'd see on Kitchen Nightmares. So it makes you wonder, what happened? How is it that a pretty good restaurant with pretty good food that fits into a really successful model somehow never managed to crack the wider market? Well, I'm glad you asked. You'll notice that all of the Bahama Breeze provided descriptions that I gave focus a lot on vibes and feelings, and critics will say that this is one of the main problems that the brand faced. From its inception in 1996, Bahama Breeze was a local hit, but never really much more, with limited nationwide expansion, seemingly peaking around 43 restaurants, but I struggled to find an exact number. And in discourse following a tumultuous year of staggered closures, some have criticised Bahama Breeze for lacking a strong brand identity, and as a loud and proud critic of corporate identity stripping, I get it. While my experience was great and I intend to return before it closes for good, my disengagement from Bahama Breeze prior to this point as someone who claims to really like restaurants poses a question. Why would someone visit in the first place? With no star menus, no viral marketing, and a lack of no-brainer promotions, what's getting people through the door? Considering this and the fact that the Bahama Breeze brand has been at the centre of Darden's restructuring efforts, with the company having closed approximately a third of all its Bahama Breeze locations last year, the closure really isn't that much of a surprise. But it could be indicative of something much bigger. Let's go back to the 1980s where Megan McCarran reports, the ideal economic conditions for chain restaurants to flourish began to emerge. The American public, in many cases armed for the first time with 2 jobs and plenty of disposable income, began buying houses and starting families in the suburbs, offering a brand new target market for the restaurant industry and more locations to open up in. For a while they were very successful and even favoured over independent and locally owned businesses, which faded under this new pressure. But as we progressed through to the turn of the century, this newly emerged middle class began shrinking and top-leaning wealth began growing. Between this and the 2008 financial crisis, these booming casual dining chain restaurants began to feel the pressure too. And even those among the most successful found themselves with fewer covers, switching hands, or worse, bankrupt. By 2017, some of the biggest chains, which were those who survived the previous decade of decline, were openly struggling with a new wave of declining growth. Brands like TGI Fridays and Applebee's saw declining sales and restaurant closures, with reasons like a preference for home cooking being cited for this. Others blame technology, wine bars, and time pressures. But regardless of the perpetrator, one thing was clear: casual dining was in trouble. And honestly, that's only been aggravated in the decade that followed, with a complete shutdown of restaurants across the globe and further declining economic conditions making their future feel even more uncertain. But why does this matter? Darden closing 14 restaurants and replacing the other half with alternative casual dining restaurants may not seem like a big deal, but it serves as a cautionary tale of what could come, and highlights the importance of choosing to support your local restaurants if you're in a position to, as not even those with investor-backed capital are safe. Beyond this, it also signals a pretty bleak reality that many probably haven't even considered yet. As McCarran so eloquently states, the diminishing of these spaces, along with the rise of more atomised eating habits like delivery apps and drive-thrus, signals the decline of a cherished ritual in American life, dining out with friends and family and the human connection it brings. As Robert Brodo states, the death of Bahama Breeze wasn't instantaneous, but rather an incremental downfall. The result of a loss of strategic clarity, reinvention and importance amongst its target market. To summarise, Bahama Breeze died because it was no longer special or unique, and the operations didn't necessarily keep up with what was required of the business. There was nothing for the outsiders who hadn't had the pleasure of trying their coconut shrimp that made Bahama Breeze feel like a must-visit destination. In a business environment that caters for an audience that craves novelty, value for money, and experiences, Bahama Breeze was just another restaurant with a big menu that fell flat. While it's sad to see it and its extensive cocktail list go, it's important to look at the big picture and establish what you value and how much you value it. Bahama Breeze may be just one medium-sized Florida originating chain, but consider the impact that a dying ritual will have on independent and small business owners, the existence of third places, and on affordable family experiences. I've got a running theory that if we keep moving in the direction we are, restaurants like these and their heavily themed counterparts like Rainforest Cafe will only be able to exist when tacked onto an anchor offering, like a theme park or a designated entertainment district, which would work nightmares for accessibility to entertainment, especially in more deprived areas. While I'd love to be proved wrong, the closure of yet another big name backed brand strikes fear into the hearts of restaurant lovers worldwide, and once again proves that nothing is truly safe in the hospitality market. Well, we have officially reached the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I've loved being able to read up on and talk about a very timely topic like this, so thank you for indulging me. If you haven't already, feel free to like this video and also to subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more long-form entertainment/recreational fun discussions. I appreciate your time and I will see you real soon.